Good evening and welcome to the City Council meeting. The meeting will start in 30 seconds. Sire is live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's City Council meeting. Today is Monday, February 14th. I'd like to welcome all of you here today. I'd like to start with today's meeting with a roll call to see which City Councilors are here tonight.
Council members Erpenbach?
Here.
Jameson?
Here.
Litz?
Here.
Rolfing?
Here.
Aguilar?
Here.
Anderson?
Here.
Brown?
Here.
Entenmann?
We do have seven City Councilors here tonight, so we can conduct the city's business. We'd like to start with tonight's meeting, as we always do, with an invocation or a prayer. We are so fortunate tonight to have Reverend Armida Alexander from the All Souls Church here. What we'd ask is that you stand. We'll receive the invocation, and then after that, if we could just follow with the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
Mayor, could they sit for a while I tell a story and then
absolutely.
rise for the prayer?
It is your invocation, and we love it. Thank you.
I'll tell you. Good evening. I come before you, first of all, to praise your generous gifts of time and energy and concern that you bring to the government of our city. I have lived a long time in other places without sidewalk cafes, without concert halls, without museums, much less street-side sculpture. Places where the heart, the downtown, is virtually empty, abandoned by its citizens and by City Council. So I am very pleased to be standing here before the guardians and far dreamers of Sioux Falls, a city that is vibrant and alive. Hallelujah. So I bring to you just what I do, which is a small recipe, a teaspoon of a poem, a tablespoon of a story, a dash of advice, and a cup of prayer. I do these things to bless you in your work. The poem is one about love to honor the day by E.E. Cummings. Love is the voice under all silences, the hope that has no opposite in fear, the strength so strong, mere force is feebleness, the truth, more first than sun, more last than star. The story is an old one, about the difficulty of finding truth. And in this place of increasing diversity of cultures and political opinions and religious faiths, I think you might find it pertinent and somewhat amusing. Once there was and was not a man who searched for truth, high and low, uphill, down dale. He was determined to find at last and hold in his hand at least one small truth that he could bag his life on. So he searched. Some say it was a year and a day, and some say it was 10 years and a day, and I don't know. I'm only the teller. But I do know that in the fullness of time, he came to a place at the crossroads where the roads led on, and there was an old, old woman sitting on a stone. But there was something about her. And so he said, "Be you the Lady Truth?" And she replied in a voice that was warm and golden like honey, I be she. Sit down, my son." And he sat himself down, and he learned from her. Some say it was a year and a day, and some say it was 10 years. I don't know. But in the fullness of time, he stood to leave, and he said, "My Lady Truth, you have fulfilled the deepest wish of my heart. Is there anything at all that I can do for you?" And she replied in that voice, "Oh yes, my son. When you speak of me, tell them I am young and beautiful. Tell them I am young and beautiful." Isn't that just the way of it? Just when you think you have it, truth, you can be certain that you are overlooking something or trying not to notice something, because the truth is always more complex and surprising than we expect, more than we want it to be. A physicist once observed that the opposite of a small truth is a lie or a falsehood, while the opposite of a great truth is another great truth. Paradox, complexity. So you, the guardians and far dreamers, are called upon to sift and judge many versions of other people's truths. So difficult. So here is my gray advice. You will need to find within yourselves and amid your deliberations here respect. Respect that is really love in its final and universal aspect. You will need to find within yourselves and in your deliberations here patience, which is the virtue of all great souls. You will need patience to deal with all the people and their demands. You will need a deep listening, a deep listening to all the people, which may assure you somewhat that you are not overlooking something crucial to the business of the day. Now the prayer, you may please rise. Beloved presence, more beautiful than all the stars together, hear our prayer. As we breathe in peace and breathe out love. In our work here, with colleagues, with our families and friends, with ourselves, may we be ever more respectful, gentle, kind, and patient. We seek the wisdom to judge and govern well, to bring blessings to this place, to be ourselves a blessings on this place. In all our days, may we find something to love, something to learn, something to teach, and some reason to rejoice, so that our lives are good and our city glad. Amen, and blessed be.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Reverend Armida, thank you so much. We'll now move on with the consent agenda. I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda.
So moved, Litz. Second, Anderson.
Councilor Litz has made a motion to approve. It's been seconded by Councilor Anderson, Jr. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, if we could vote on that, please.
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
That is passed 7-0. Thank you. Now move on to tonight's regular agenda. Could I have a motion to approve tonight's regular agenda?
So move, Anderson. Second, Litz.
Got a motion by Councilor Anderson, seconded by Councilor Litz, to approve tonight's regular agenda. Is there any discussion on this?
Are there any other motions to amend? Are there motions to amend the regular agenda?
Oh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Are you waiting?
Patiently, Councilor Brown.
I make a motion to amend the regular agenda. I'm sorry. Tamara, help me out here. Where are we at? We need to do the first reading, correct?
Yep, we need someone to make a motion to amend the regular agenda, someone to second the motion to add an ordinance to the regular agenda as item 6, as read by the Assistant City Clerk. So after the second, I'll read the title.
I will make that motion.
Second Aguilar.
It's been a motion by Councilor Brown, seconded by Councilor Aguilar.
So item 6 will be the first reading ordinance, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of said city by rezoning property at 47135 260th Street from the A1 Agricultural District to the McCrossin Boys Ranch Plan Development District. Now we need a vote to accept this amendment.
Is there any discussion on the motion that was made by Councilor Brown? No discussion. Very good. Could we vote on this item, please?
Okay, Council Members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
And that was the vote on the amendment. Now we are voting on the main motion as amended. Council Members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Entenmann. Oh, he's not here. Okay, so that's been added as item 6.
Thank you so much. And for the good people of Sioux Falls, there were 6 votes that were required to add this on to the agenda tonight because it was brought in special. So we did get 7. We needed 6, so we will add this to tonight's agenda, which will be item 6. Thank you so much, City Council, for allowing that. Again, I'd like to welcome all of you here tonight. This is an opportunity for anybody in the audience to speak to their City Council. We would ask you to keep it to 5 minutes, if you wouldn't mind. It's also it's an opportunity for you to talk to the City Council. It's not a question and answer session. We hope you understand that. But to please, coming up, all we'd ask is that you just state your name. Welcome.
Mayor and City Council, Steve Hildebrand with Build It Downtown, talking tonight about the Event Center. Happy Valentine's Day, by the way. Michelle, we're missing the red. But, I'll be as brief as I can. I handed out copies, and on the board up above, what we'd like to do is have the city fully explore at least 4 potential locations downtown. Our organization, which is more than 2,200 strong at this point, has been in existence for almost 6 months. And during that 6-month period, we've done a fairly exhaustive study on our own, talking to developers, business owners, constructors, architects, and engineers about where this event center should be built, whether it should be built at the arena or a potential downtown location. And during that process, we looked for extensive advice of people smarter than we are to help us determine potential locations for the downtown area. We have not seen anybody bring forward in a public way potential locations, and so we're taking that opportunity tonight to do that on our own. We had asked Mayor for a meeting with your staff a couple months back through Darren Smith and through Mike Cooper for our organization to sit down with your staff to talk about potential locations downtown, but we were not afforded that meeting, so tonight we're going to present these on our own without the input of the city staff, which we don't believe is an appropriate process. Those 4 locations that we're going to talk about tonight quickly are Minnesota Avenue, between 6th and 8th Street. It's where the old bus depot used to sit. It's where the big parking ramp is. A lot of vacant property there. A lot of the property in this corridor is owned by the city, by the county, by Dale Jans, and by the owners of the adult bookstore that rests on that property. It is a property that is ripe for redevelopment for a large building or multiple buildings. I'm not going to sit here and say what should be located there, but what I am going to do is say in discussions with many architects and developers that this is an appropriate location should the property be available for an event center. Very, very possible. It would enhance an area of the downtown core that is needing redevelopment. The vacant property, it sits virtually empty other than the cars that park there and the couple of buildings that exist. And it's a very important part of downtown. It is part of a huge amount of traffic that goes by that sees basically a dead part of downtown. The post office had looked 2 years ago to vacate that property. We would encourage the city to go back to the post office to seek, to put in a request to see if we could possibly acquire that property. I think it's a very important piece. 3 properties of the 4 that we're suggesting to the city are located along the river and along what will eventually be a beautiful river greenway. And there's been a lot of talk about us comparing what we're trying to do with the River Greenway to San Antonio. Our River Greenway will never be what San Antonio has if we don't have the foot traffic on there. And part of that foot traffic would be the 400,000 or more people who would attend events in an event center. So we encourage the city to look strongly at the post office site, to look strongly at Sharapa, and the adjacent property there. That was the chosen site in the 2005 study, and to look at Sioux Steel, a property that is potentially available over the course of the next 1.5 to 2 years. So please, I think the public here in Sioux Falls deserves due diligence. They deserve an open and public process. They deserve answers as to whether or not the city has looked at these properties or other downtown properties, and to know what the results of those inquiries have been, something that we've not been afforded to this point. Mayor, I would also ask for you to look back at what you told us many months ago, which was a very open process with public meetings. We are in the process right now of studying a location for the arena, a location for downtown, and during this process is when we should be holding public meetings, not after the studies are done, but while the studies are being conducted, and I think that's an appropriate request. So I'm asking the City Council, the Mayor, and the City staff to do due diligence on these 4 locations and any other potential downtown locations before we move forward with this study. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the city? Please come forward. Thank you. Sir, welcome. Just state your name, please.
Hi, I'm Dave Syverson. I've been up a couple times, Northwest District. Just wanted to come up and was at the informational meeting earlier today. I thought there was some very good information there, and I'd like to congratulate you guys on the selection of Mortensen. That's one company that I'm vaguely familiar with, but if there's a company that's outside of Sioux Falls that's overly qualified to do this, I think you've found a very good builder in Mortensen. I went to school down in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I know they're involved in the Haymarket project down there. And one thing I think that I've heard that tipped their hand to get that project was the fact that with the downtown site in Lincoln, you had a brownfield opportunity for cleanup. You also had a massive, way bigger than what we have, railroad relocation. And if it happens to go downtown, and one of these sites requires some of that sort of activity, I think you've got a builder there that will not be scratching his head. They'll be like, we can handle this, we'll get it done on time. So I'd like to commend you guys on that selection. Also, in being involved with Build It Downtown and doing a little bit of research on some of these facilities that have been built, Michelle, you asked the question earlier today about whether Dan, where he would like to see it. And yeah, that's opinion based, but I think if you go and you look at the body of work that Mortensen's done and also their architect, the vast majority of these facilities, over 90% of them that are built, our size or even bigger, have all gone in downtown locations. And I'm not sure that's by accident. I'm pretty sure all these cities have done the same type of process that we have. They've looked, they've studied, maybe they haven't spent a decade on it like we have. But I think when the facts came down and the economics came back, these guys, all these other cities made this decision. So I'm hoping that if we go down this path and the numbers do come out the way we think they will, that not only you, Mr. Mayor, but the council will have the courage to make that decision. And if you do, just know that you'll have a lot of citizens, including our organization, that will back you up on this. Thanks a lot.
Folks, anybody else, please come forward. Thank you. Come forward. Welcome.
I'm David Zokaitis, and I was here about 2 weeks ago. Interestingly enough, Reverend Armida talked about the need for respect and patience. Well, that's perfect, and that's what I talked about 3 weeks ago. I had an unfriendly encounter with a police officer and dropped off some information to the city council and to the mayor. And I haven't heard back. I didn't hear a peep out of anybody, so I figured I better come back and to remind you that there's an open issue that needs some resolution. Well, you've already got the details. I don't know that you need to hear them again. But basically, I was out for a run, and a police officer pulled up next to me in a car and told me to come to a dead stop. And, from a hard 2-mile run to a dead stop, that's just stupid. So I tried to talk to him in a matter-of-fact tone and said, that's medically dangerous instructions you're giving me. And he reacted with extreme anger and belligerence, and that's simply not tolerable. It's unacceptable behavior. So anyway, you have some information, and you need to get back to me as to the resolution.
Folks, anybody else in the audience would like to speak to the city council, please come forward. Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Stinga.
How are we doing tonight?
Doing great. Thank you.
I know that you guys got a lot of things on your shoulders, and I'm just glad that you guys let us speak out. I guess one major question, and it was already asked, it states in the schedule, by the end of February of 2011, it states identify most suitable and flexible downtown sites. I'm curious on February is half gone, and what suitable sites has the city looked at for the event center? I'm going to address Michelle's right now. I should have did it the first time. When she addressed the issue on being able to get this information, I have been trying every Monday when I come in at 4 o'clock, I have been told that I do not have a right to have this copy because it's only for press only. I'd like that changed because I'd like to be able to get a copy of this when I come to the meeting at 4 o'clock, so that way I know what's being talked about. I had to go get this from somebody else, and I've been told this several times that I can't have what's being talked about at the 4 o'clock meeting because I'm not press. So I'd like to see that changed to where anybody can have this because, I don't know, I'm a citizen and I want to know what's going on. So thank you for bringing it up. My other question, and looking at, if you look at the KFC Center, it's home of University of Louisiana or whatever, Louisville. And then if you look at the Minnesota, the TCF Stadium, home of University Minnesota Gophers. And then if you look at the one in Grand Forks, that's the home of the University of North Dakota. And if you keep going on and on and on, I guess my main question is, who's going to be the major tenant of this event center, and how is it going to be financed? I guess, we have D-League teams in Sioux Falls. We have the football, hockey, and the basketball. If they haven't come out and stated that they are going to jump onto the event center, then who is going to be the major tenant that is going to be in this facility to not only keep the facility running, but to make sure that the citizens of Sioux Falls aren't going to get stuck with the full bill? I'm looking at the additional cost, additional expenses. on for the travel for different facilities, legal fees, and I guess my question is, the two groups that went out to look at different facilities in the last 10 years, did they not go travel to different facilities, and do they not have a report on some of the facilities they liked versus some of the other facilities, and to be able to hold off on the travel? And I guess I see so much emphasis right now on this entertainment center. What's being put on the back door? What's being put behind in Sioux Falls? I listened to the bus route. Major concerns. Is that being overlooked? Is it not being looked at enough? I'm looking at the roads. Is there not enough emphasis on the roads versus the entertainment center? I would like to see emphasis on more that is going on in Sioux Falls versus this entertainment center, because I'll tell you, it isn't when we built the entertainment center, it's if this entertainment center ever gets built. And I'm hoping that when it comes out to the voters of Sioux Falls, that it has the arena site, the downtown site, or none of the above. Because if it comes out to where it's just at the arena site and none of the above, it's not going to be like that for certain people. If it's at the downtown site versus not the above, a lot of other people are going to be unhappy too. So you have to make the decision on how it's going to be worded to the citizens of Sioux Falls. My other question doesn't have anything to do with the entertainment center, but it has to do with the pavilion. The management at the pavilion, I'm just curious on when their contract comes up and how we're going to fill the contract. Is it just going to be appointed to the people that have the contract now, or is it going to go outside to bid the contract, or has the contract already been fulfilled? That's my questions.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak to the City Council tonight? Please come forward. Well, hearing none, again, thank you for the comments. We truly appreciate it. I know the City Council certainly appreciates it, and I do as well. Thank you so much. If we can move on to item number 4, please.
Item number 4 is deferred from the meetings of December 6, 2010 and January 3, 2011. It's a second reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, rezoning property at 412 East 12th Street from the C3 Central Business District to Subarea E of the Beetle Greenway Plan Development District, petition number 2010-0902, and amending the official zoning map of the City of Sioux Falls.
Thank you. Is there any, would anybody like to make a motion on this tonight? Yes, Councilor Jameson.
Mayor, and before I make a motion, if there's a comment, I guess.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you're going to have
David?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Attorney's Office would request a 60-day deferral of this matter. It is a companion matter to some litigation that is ongoing. Parties are attempting a settlement, and we'd request that it be deferred until April 18th.
Thank you, David. Is there anyone in the audience who'd like to speak to this item? Very good. City Council, hearing what David said, would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to defer for 60 days.
Councilor Jameson, thank you. And Councilor Rolfing, thank you for seconding it. Is there any discussion by the City Council on this item? Motion to defer. Yes. Councilor Anderson, Jr.
I guess, question of the City Attorney's Office, do you think that the 60 days will be enough to complete this process?
At this point, Councilor Anderson, I'm hopeful, but I can't make any guarantees that 60 days should be sufficient. But based on the latest discussions of the parties, I'm more hopeful than I was before.
Thank you.
City Council, thank you. Hearing no further questions or commentary, could we vote on this motion to defer?
Council members Erpenbach,
Yes.
Jamison,
Yes.
Litz,
Yes.
Rolfing,
Yes.
Aguilar,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Thank you. That is, the motion to defer is passed 7-0. Item number 5, please.
Item number 5 is a first reading, an ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, providing supplemental appropriations to assist Minnehaha County in purchasing a security system for Project Safe Home.
Very good. City Council, would anybody like to address this item? It is a first reading. Is there anyone who'd like to address it? Councilor Litz?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think a lot of us probably read what was in the paper today, and I've spoken to all of you about what's going on here, but for the general public that may be curious about this tonight and not knowing anything that, for a long time I felt that the City of Sioux Falls had some role in this Project Safe Home. I wasn't exactly sure what that was, and nobody really seemed to be bringing anything forward, but I went to the ribbon cutting where we all crowded into a tent up on Minnesota Avenue here a couple of months ago before the weather turned, and I looked at it, and once again it struck me that the city was not a player in this, and like I say, I just really didn't know what type of obligation we had, but I thought, I found out that they did not have a security system. It was one of the parts of furniture, fixtures, and equipment that is not covered by a tax credit situation. And the security system would be for staff, and it would be for the general public, and it would be for the folks who are in this facility to watch over them and ensure public safety. So I saw an opportunity for the City of Sioux Falls to get involved. So I did speak with a few other councilors, or all the other councilors, and I spoke with the administration, and all of you were graceful enough at that time to agree with me. And so this is why I'm bringing this $100,000 supplement forward. That said, I'd like to also remind you that the timing of this project has been set back a little bit. They're still trying to get some numbers together down there, but at that time when they break dirt, I think it would be appropriate then, and I'll be gone, but and not gone away, Michelle, but I'll be someplace else and unable to vote, but it will be incumbent on some of you other folks who are concerned about this to bring that agreement forward, and please work with city legal staff. They've been more than gracious. City finance has been very gracious in working with me on this, and so we're here tonight to have a hearing and a vote on this here, and that's kind of where we're at. So like I say, this is not quite done. We're still going to need your help to pull this off. So.
Councilor Anderson, Jr.
Can we get a little explanation on where the $100,000 is going to come from?
Well, it will come out of the general fund of the budget for this year here, not the reserve fund, Kenny.
Now, I was told out of the health department's budget. Is that correct, or
it will go into the health department's budget? Is my understanding of it. And then the health department would be in charge after the agreement is executed to deliver the money at the appropriate time.
Okay, so this will basically increase the health department's budget this year by $100,000.
That's my
and
understanding.
And that will be earmarked for the homeless security system.
I'm not sure if earmarking is the appropriate term, but certainly that's the intent. Mr. Feifel, could you correct me if I've said anything wrong, please?
Not that I'm aware of, Councilor Litz, so I know this has been a very fluid topic in terms of where the money would come from and where it would be going, but your rendition sounds accurate from what I've heard.
Thank you.
Councilor, with permission, if the project isn't started in 2011 and is started in 12, does that impact what you're recommending at all to the City Council?
To that, I would say this. I think that due to their agreements and their bonding thing, they're going to have to come up with something and start work soon, because that's legally they're bound to do that. So I would be real surprised if it went into 12. They would need some certain legal remedy, would be my understanding, to continue it that far out.
Councilor Jameson.
Here it is on Valentine's Day. Great day to bring something like this forward. And I feel like the odd duck here, but and I assume I probably will be, but and I won't harp on this, but I just think that the county has certain obligations that it's required to take care of by state law, and the city has certain responsibilities that it's required to take care of. And I just think that the county needs to do their job and the city needs to do their job. And we need to spend our money where we are supposed to spend it. And in handing it out like this, it was indeed a great gesture of goodwill and a heart-warm felt appreciation for what the county's doing. And I understand what the council is intending to have happen here, and that's admirable. I would just encourage them to consider the state law and follow it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Jameson. Yes, Councilor Urpenbach.
I guess I would just add to that the idea that this is one of those times when we're all pitching in to take care of each other, and that there is still a shortfall on that project, and that I'm going to ask, and I'm going to be speaking to different groups and church ladies and all those kinds of folks. We're all going to have to pitch in to make this project happen. What we're going to do is take care of that small population of people who are the most expensive for us as a community, not just as the county, but the most expensive for the city and the county together to care for. This project saves us money. Whether it's the city money or the county money, it's still coming out of my pocket and your pocket. This project is of benefit to all of us, and we're doing a token amount to help make up that deficit when the time comes.
Councilor Brown.
Mr. Mayor, I would just advise that this is a first reading, so we don't generally debate the issues here. You know I have strong feelings about this as well, but I'll reserve those for later.
Councilor Brown, thank you. And as Councilor Brown talked or just mentioned to the folks in the audience and to the people that are watching at home, it is a first reading. So the public, you also are asked to hold back on your comments at this reading, and now if there's a motion to set a second reading, that's the opportunity for you as citizens to speak to the City Council about this topic. Councilor Urpenbach.
I would make a motion to set the second reading for Tuesday, February 22nd.
Thank you, Councilor.
I'd like second, Anderson.
There's been a motion by Councilor Urpenbach to set the second reading for Tuesday, February 22nd at 7 p.m. for this item. It was seconded by Councilor Litz. Is there any further discussion?
Seconded by Anderson.
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Anderson did make that second, so I'd like him to get credit for it.
Councilor Anderson, Jr., thank you for seconding that motion by Councilor Urpenbach. I do appreciate that. Is there any further discussion on that? If we could have a vote, please. Thank you.
Council members Urpenbach?
Yes.
Jameson?
No.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 6-1. Item number 6.
Item number 6 is a first reading and ordinance of the City of Sioux Falls, South Dakota, amending the Code of Ordinances of said city by rezoning property at 47135 260th Street from the A1 Agricultural District to the McCrossin Boys Ranch Plan Development District.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is David Loveland. I'm with the Planning Office, and I'll be presenting this item. I'd like to begin by thanking the City Clerk's Office for their assistance with bringing this to you. The petitioner is Spencer Ruff. He's representing McCrossin Boys Ranch. The rezoning in question is 100 acres just to the northwest of the City of Sioux Falls, and the development plan goes out to the year 2025. The purpose behind the rezoning petition is that currently the McCrossin Boys Ranch is owned in the agricultural district, and they have future expansion plans that they are unable to complete without proper zoning. Right now they're what we would term as a legal non-conforming use, and so by this rezoning they'll be able to conduct some of their expansion plans, which would include additional facilities for the boys out there. There are 3 sub-areas in the zoning district. The first is sub-area A. As you can see on your screen, that would be the northwest corner to the top left of your screen. That would be for a commercial corner, potentially a convenience store or mini storage units. Sub-area B, which is the large outlying areas around the center of the site, it would still be zoned A1 agricultural, which would allow for livestock shows, barns, and athletic complex. And then sub-area C, which is the large center portion of the site, would be the residential school and housing for the residents out there. and any of the activities and facilities for administration. So, the Planning Commission heard the item on Monday, January 24th, and recommended approval by the City Council with one change that was to include final requirement for final development plans to be heard by the Planning Commission. And just as a side note on that, we did the ordinance that was presented to you in your initial packet. There was a small language change submitted by county staff today to our office, and so we will be presenting an amendment to the clerk's office tomorrow morning that you'll hear at second reading. So it's a small change. The purpose and intent of that other regulation remains the same. It's just how the county administers it. They prefer that language. So, and that concludes my report.
David, thank you.
Thank you.
City Council, any questions or comments on this? Would anybody be willing to make a motion for a second reading on Tuesday, February 22nd at 5 p.m.?
So moved. Rolfing.
Second, Aguilar.
Councilor Rolfing did make that motion, and it was seconded by Councilor Aguilar. Is there any further discussion on this? Hearing none, a vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. City Council, before we adjourn, are there any other comments? Yes, Councilor Jamison.
I thought I would just add an idea possibly when we have constituents come forward and ask several questions. Perhaps, Mayor, you're oftentimes in charge of responding, and I don't know that that's quite fair. Perhaps all of us should weigh in some way, and or this list of questions should be made available to all of us, and then we can weigh in and answer them as well. But somehow or another, the process probably needs a little help. I'm not sure that all the answers are getting provided to the citizens, and I just want to make sure that process goes smoothly. So if we can help in some way, I'm offering that. Perhaps we should. Just some thoughts.
Councilor Jameson, thank you very much. Any further discussion or any items that any of the City Council would like to talk about? Well, thank you. Could I have a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting, please?
So moved, Litz.
Councilor Litz has made a motion to adjourn. It was seconded by Councilor Rolfing. And hearing no further discussion, if we could have a vote, please.
Councilmembers Erpenbach?
Yes.
Jamison?
Yes.
Litz?
Yes.
Rolfing?
Yes.
Aguilar?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Thank you. That is passed 7-0. Sioux Falls, thank you. City Council, thank you. Make it a great Valentine's Day. This meeting is adjourned.
Really seconded?
I didn't hear him.
Yeah, I don't think he did. I think he made it up.
Could be.
Michelle's pissed.